Guess what I found? This is so vintage and so much fun, and I've been wanting to use it in several different collages, and today I stumbled upon it, so that makes me very happy. Will I use it in today's collage? I'm not sure, but I am definitely keeping it nearby, and I'll figure something out for it. What I do want to share is I ran into a very interesting pile of possible collage material in the form of an old first aid kit. The imagery on this cannot be beat, from the actual illustrations to the wonderful font, and even the color. It has a nice little patina to it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be using all of this material in this particular collage, but I absolutely wanted to share it with you guys. This is castor oil. I remember hearing about castor oil in cartoons. They gave castor oil to kids for what? I know it was when you were sick and it tastes awful. This is ancient castor oil. This is from a first aid kit. I want to say either World War II or post-World War II era, 1950s. So we're talking about a long time ago, well over 70 years old. I also have more material from that first aid kit that's never been opened. This is still packaged. They're compression bandages. I guess they're still sterilized. I just have no idea, but again, look at that. I am so excited to use this either today or in another collage. Again, absolutely have to share with my collage loving audience here again. Can't beat that. I'm looking at the text on this packaging, and it's just making me so happy. Look at this. Makes me so happy. I don't know if this material would still work in terms of first aid, like for real first aid, but we were clearing out somebody's office at work tourniquet. Now they always say don't do tourniquets unless you absolutely have to. Here's some instructions. I remember hearing about that little body diagram there. So we were clearing out the office and came upon this first aid kit. Even the tin that the materials were being held in, the supplies, the first aid tin was super, super cool. It also had like a list of items. Look at that old tape patina. I mean, this is just terrible. The acidity just chewed it apart. But I might use this maybe for the collage. And this was the Grande Resistance. I don't know if I should say it that way, if that's the correct way of using that. It's a first aid guide, and this imagery, I'm telling you, timeless. I was super, super excited when I saw this booklet, and then even more excited when I asked my supervisor, may I take this home? I will give it a good home. But you know what I do to my things? I cut them up. See, this kind of stuff just makes collage people like me so happy. And this too is well over 50 years old. Well, gosh, I'm sorry. I'm over 50 years old. This is older than me. So we're talking probably easily over 70 years old. I'm going to have fun with this today. I was really looking forward to this video and making something from this material. I still have some other vintage stuff that is unrelated to first aid. I think I may want to use this also. And along with my Heinz ketchup and maybe this nice black and white image and this stoplight. I think I know what I want to do, so if that is the case, I'm going to go ahead and actually start sorting through the first aid kit material, see what I want to keep, what I might be able to use, and maybe try a little castor oil. So I started to cut open the tourniquet box and decided against it. I just was able to open it carefully Even with its little red tab, that broke off. That's how old this stuff is, and it's very crispy and crumbly when I'm crackling up the plastic wrapping. So as long as it can lay flat, then I can at least store it better. Everything cut out pretty well. And some things I simply cut away because I know I just wanted these portions of the images. And again, I'm going to put them off to the side. As for the actual supplies, I don't know if I should even hang on to these. I'll discuss that with my editor. This actual, the triangle bandage, I guess for a broken arm, it still looks pretty good, and hopefully I don't have to use it. There's a lot of foxing and patina going on these papers, because the acid has taken its toll with time. And then there was the scary tourniquet belt, or whatever it is. Place tourniquet above wound, leaving unbroken skin between tourniquet and wound. Yeah, so this is still in like really pretty good condition. Maybe I should have given this to a museum or something. I feel bad now. I shouldn't have opened it. What are you gonna do? Anyway, so I'm just gonna put these things off to the side. Hopefully we don't need them, but you never know. Maybe they'll make way into a jelly print. I need to get into jelly printing, as I have shared before. I've played with it a little bit, but now I have some possible fodder for backgrounds for jellies, giving it some nice texture. It's a nice linen actually for this this sling, this triangle bandage. Put that off to the side. And I'm also going to save these for a minute, even though there isn't too much going on in terms of imagery, but you can't beat the font. You know, I do like text. I rarely use text in my collages. That could change today. So we'll just put that off to the side. Okay, but these guys, the castor oil labels, I do want to keep them. They are badly, they've aged badly. Let's just say that. It even says not to be taken internally. So those cartoons were wrong. Cartoons lied to me. So don't take these at home, kids. I don't know what the castor oil is for. Something about the eye. I can barely read what it says. As an aid for relieving pain after removing foreign substance from the eye. I'm sorry, I'm not going to put this in my eyes. No way. I don't think I would have done it if it was brand new. I've never heard that. If you're in the medical profession and you are watching my channel, thank you. And if you want to comment, please do. Castor oil in the eye? I don't know. Not going to do it. But these labels are cool. And what I think I want to do, I tried to take them off as is. That did not work. I was afraid I was going to damage it, which I certainly was. So I'm probably going to steam them. I think that's the way to go. And I'm wondering if I should take this awful oil, because there's a lot of oil. This was never opened. I probably should take the oil out first. Will I use them in today's collage? I don't know, but maybe another time. I used to have a ton of old medicine labels, and they were really cool, but they have long since been used and in other collages and have moved on, and I don't even know where those collages are anymore. So I have my first aid kit. I have this old vintage strawberry thingy going on. I have my Heinz ketchup, my street lamp, and my possible focal point. I think I know what I want to do, and I'm going to go back to Timelapse and back to cutting and see what we can find to make this interesting. I was pleased that this little bowl of ketchup pretty much fits the head of this model, or half head of this model. I'm not sure. And this is where I'm getting, like I said, I wanted to chat with everyone, let you know my thinking process here. I'm not really sure what I want to do next. I thought about cutting the dress away and filling it with something else, because the white is just kind of boring. And I think it would be a lot more interesting if I can fill this area in with something else, and that something else being perhaps from our new swag. And yet I don't know if that will work. I was also thinking about maybe using the fonts as some type of border or frame. And I am wondering also about the background. I was thinking about maybe using this as the background or maybe the dress, not sure. So the remedy, as always for me, is to get to cutting. So she has this dress. It's not really a dress. It's a skirt with a top for sure, but perhaps it was a dress. And that really just doesn't matter at this point. I think I'm just going to go ahead and make those cuts. Uh, just cut away. And here we are at the fingers. And you know how much fun this fussy cutting is for me. I did change out my blade. One of my little rules that I've heard time and again, and it is true, change a blade and change it often. I do not change my blades often. Why? Well, I don't want to waste them. I will use my blades as much as I possibly can, but when it comes to a fussier cut, I like to change my blades. And that being actually is a safety issue because when your blades aren't very sharp, you're pressing harder. And when you press harder, the chances of you making a mistake or and hurting yourself are greater. And I don't want the theme of this to really be about first aid where I cut myself because I don't have a very sharp blade. But we do have a sharp blade, and that makes cutting this fresh piece of contemporary magazine paper a dream, just like butter. So just making my careful cuts going along the line of the image itself. It is a black and white image, and you know I love my black and white imagery. I'm going to keep this as the template like I normally do. Just maintaining that template along the border also because I'm not sure what I want to do next. And also I want to think about the background. Backgrounds, usually, as you know, if you've been watching the channel for a little bit, I like to keep them basic, usually something pastel or even just a black background because you can't go wrong with a nice black background. But lately I've been playing with my backgrounds. I've been playing with them in Photoshop, finding other imagery and tweaking it a little bit in Photoshop. I'm never going, well, I shouldn't say never, but right now, no way am I abandoning the traditional analog way of collaging. I enjoy it way too much. I'm learning so much about digital, and we just finished Febrelage. And to give you any indication what time of year we're at, it's the beginning of March. And we're going to be either we dropped that video about the Febrelage project, but I learned so much during Febrelage that I didn't have a lot of time because work. So there were some days that I had to rely on my Photoshop skills to get something done that I was proud to post. And happy to say I liked everything that I posted for Febrelage, but I really relied on my Photoshop skills, which are fledgling at best. By no means am I an expert on any type of Photoshop. And to be honest with you, what I actually really love to work with digitally is PowerPoint. PowerPoint is a vector program like Illustrator is, while Photoshop is more of a pixelated program. And it's just a lot easier to use. Photoshop, as you all know, is the industry standard. And I like it when I understand it, but there's still so much I need to learn about Photoshop to really get my money's worth out of my subscription, which isn't too bad. Anyway, I'm just cleaning up her nails here and onward with decisions and what I'm going to do next with today's collage. I liked maintaining some of the blue, actually a lot of the blue background on these images. I'm still in major play mode, which is the best part about collaging. So I cut out these, it's actually a cardboard, a very light cardboard, but it's vintage. It's withstood the test of time, but there's a lot of acid, so there's, not corroding. It's not that fragile, but I don't want to manipulate it too much. So the fussy cutting, I got to be careful with it. I also want to be careful with the fact that I'm having contrast issues. Maybe because I chose a black and white image, although I don't really think that's it. I liked these strawberries for the body cavity that I created with the dress. And I like this heart. It's just a real basic diagram of the heart. It's not Grey's Anatomy quality, not like these hips. And I actually feel kind of weird because I think these are male hips, male pelvis. I apologize, but it looked cool, and I think I'm gonna stay with it regardless. Then a real simple diagram of the chest and abdominal cavities. I thought about using that here, just so, tucking it in, but I'm just kind of not feeling it. I kind of like the heart better. I definitely think I want to use these hips and kind of place them here. But the problem that I'm running into right now is, what do we put on the background? I wanted to use this, but it's just not creating enough contrast. I do like it because this red is going to match the ketchup that's pouring down through the head. So I kind of like that, but when I start adding my ephemera, there's just not a ton of contrast going on here. So I'm reluctant. I kind of want to use this because I like how it says open here, and I was going to place it like maybe in this general area. Maybe, possibly. I also liked these hands that were actually opening up like a Band-Aid. Oh, those Band-Aids, I wanted to tell you guys, once I opened them up, because I don't think I opened them up initially, I think these are still good. So I'm going to hang on to these. And it says sterility guaranteed unless package is damaged. So why not, huh? Got a couple extra Band-Aids. And being a collage artist with my super sharp X-Acto, it's a good thing to have Band-Aids on hand. So I do like the strawberry background, but I'm just, again, not really feeling that. And I thought maybe this in the heart region, I don't know. I thought that might look a little more interesting. Or this is a little more compacted. So I like the way the imagery is setting up. My issue right now that I'm discussing with my mind is that I need something that's going to pop more. Now, you may have noticed that I did use this image of a street signal, and I do like it. It has a nice, dare I say, pop of color, because you guys know I hate that term. Don't ask why, it's silly, but that's just how I feel. And that does offer a really strong contrast, especially once I cut this out. And I'll probably rely on Photoshop to give me a little background. So that works a little bit better. It's a little more interesting maybe. And we can use all of this more these simple diagrams of body parts. Something like that. I thought about coming in with some watercolor paint maybe and playing with it. I usually don't do that. I'm not, I do mixed media, but normally not with these collages. This blue it's kind of a contradiction of this blue, and I'm not sure if I like that either. I also cut out these guys because I thought they might be fun, placing them here. I don't know. I was going to have them walking in front of the model, but I don't feel like doing a lot of fussy cutting for these guys, honestly, because the paper is brittle. It's not that brittle. It's actually pretty good. But I don't know if I want to do all of that cutting, quite honestly, because that's going to be a lot of cutting. But you know what I always do? I always end up doing the cutting anyway. So here's the issue. I need to decide on the body background. Absolutely need to decide. And I would like it to be something that is very colorful and fun, that contradicts the seriousness of my other ephemera. Oh, and just a side note, don't know if you guys noticed, definitely I checked the back of this page before I cut, because I really hated cutting this part out, and I'm feeling lazy. I didn't get up and make a copy. I just went ahead and cut. Oh, well, c'est la vie. So let's see. This was a collage from Februlage, but ignore that for a minute. I like this background. I thought that's really going to make things pop if I use this very colorful background for the body. It's really fun and makes everything stand out. Well, sort of. This still, it's still, I think I need something a little darker. So I was staring at that, and it's laying on the table, and more about this later when you want to see the Februlage video. I don't know if it's going to be out by the time I share this video. But yeah, anyway, I need something darker. That's why I guess this was looking good, but also the black felt very, well, it doesn't have to be a focal point, because it is just going to be hosting the ephemera, which is the focal point. And I'm reluctant to cut anything else out here because I need to maintain this stencil as I'm building. I just need to make a couple of decisions. And decisions, sometimes they take time. See, I like that look. I like how the hands are on the hips. There's also these hands. I thought about having them reaching out this way, but that means I wouldn't be really able to use that. Then it's too much. I don't want to go overboard. I think something like this might work. And no, I don't think I want to go into mixed media at this point. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at. Thought about using these guys also as the backdrop, but I don't think it works. I may need to walk away from it for a minute and decide. See, this is the trouble that I can get into when I have a lot of the same ephemera. It's leaves something to be desired. I may need to go hunting through my ephemera again. What's going to be important also is my, not so much what's my focal point. I know what my focal point is. It's basically her, but I need to build it up. I'm going to grab that. Where did it go? Oh, yeah. See, I had this originally. The hips are great. I think I want to keep the hips. Something like this. That's what I did before. I just don't know if it's really what I want. I don't think so. Nah. Let me just set that off to the side. Okay. All this means is I need to make some considerations. We're going to tilt these. I had thought about also making her almost like some sort of Durga with many arms. I could still do that just to play with it. I got these beautiful bandaged hands on the other side. What's more interesting? These hands might be interesting too. I think, gosh, I don't know. Has to be one or the other. I could, again, go into Photoshop, but I don't really feel like it. I think it's going to be one or the other. Now, these hands, I thought maybe one here, one up here, like they're reaching across the body. That might be a possibility. And these. Then I'm just using a lot of the ephemera from our first aid swag. So I thought about cutting out here too to create more contrast, which I still can. These are the lungs. I can cut here, here, but I like those arrows. Let me do some more thinking and I'll get back to you. I decided that yes, I do want to use this list with its wonderful patina and acid tape. I love the way it looks and I'm going to go for it. I like that it kind of bookends right here like it was meant to be. So that is going to stay. That is what I'm going to work with. I also like, here's the word, first aid, because titles are important to me. So this might have a title of first aid. And you remember this guy? Well, while I was thinking, because that's what I do when I do collage, I was cutting and I thought I'm just going to do a lot of crazy fussy cutting right here, right now. Because what I liked was the look of these strawberries intermingled with these words. And I also realized I can possibly use the pelvic bone and interlace these strawberries and leaves with it when I finally put it all together. So, off camera, I am going to fussy cut this guy. Get all those strawberries and leaves free so I can do what I want with them, but I better be careful because this is very, very delicate paper. And that being the case, I'm going to try to use my trusty scissors as much as I humanly can. Scissors are easier when you are dealing with vintage paper. Although this particular paper for this design is actually a lot stronger than I thought it would be. And I may not have to cut out all of these strawberries. Famous last words. I always say that, and then I end up realizing I do need to cut everything out. Why? Because if I don't, I limit myself. And then I'm like, well, I can't use that part because I didn't cut out here and whatnot. So I usually end up doing all of the fussy cutting, all of those clean cuts, and make myself a little crazy? Maybe. I'm going to do as much cutting as I can with these scissors before I tackle the rest of these strawberries with the X-Acto knife. Although I have used the X-Acto knife with this particular piece, it hasn't been bad. And obviously I need the X-Acto knife for these little nooks and crannies that are trapped. Although I don't necessarily have to have those vines in there. I mean, I can take artistic liberty here. I don't have to use the whole thing, and I don't have to keep it intact. In fact, I may have portions of the strawberries here and portions of the strawberries there to add balance. So give me a second. I'm going to do some cutting, and I'll show you the end results. Whew, that was a lot of work, but very satisfying, and I am proud of myself. But I just had to get rid of that background because it just would lose interest for me. So we have something brand new. There were some casualties, and then there were some that I fixed with a little bit of tape. It was a little messy too. I got little bits of that paper all over the place. But we now have something that we can work with and interweave with other ephemera. That's what I like. That's what I was going for. I bet this little strawberry belonged here. Possibly. And I have the freedom now to move it around as I wish or remove more strawberries and maybe just scatter them throughout the body form that we're working with. The reason I like the strawberry so much is it's going to correspond, hopefully, with our ketchup theme. And also, since we're dealing with the human body and we're kind of in the heart region, that was something else I was kind of going for too. So we now have something brand new to work with. Vintagey, almost everything in here is vintage except for our main model. I'm going to get back to it and see what we come up with our new piece of ephemera. Okay, crisis averted. I'm going to apply some tape and just get things settled, so to speak. Okay. And I want to have it like at a hinge so I can slip ephemera in there, which I definitely need to do. I also had that little gray hand. Oy, where did I put it? Okay, I don't think I want to use these guys. Just trying to stay a little organized. Ah, here it is. So this little gray hand, and it's nice because it matches the gray of the model. I'm gonna put that here. Looks like he's reaching. Kind of lascivious, maybe like that. Let's see if I can attach that. But look, it's shoot. It's it looks like I need to use a little glue. It's not a big deal. I got the glue on the ready here. It's a little wet. Of course, I have all those bandages I could use. I'm not going to do that. I actually had a little bit of paper towel lying nearby. Yeah, I'm just going to affix this little hand with some glue. Try to maintain the words first aid. I think that's what we're going to call this collage, or a variation of that. There. Okay. We're dealing with really delicate paper here, so I just want to not overload it with media, just remnants of that glue, so it just might stick a little better and look like it belongs. Okay, so I went ahead and I cut this in half. It's fine. I'm not I am in love with it because I worked very hard on it, but I wanted it to kind of interlace and have like this strawberry kind of peeking out and also filling that area. I want to make sure first aid is visible here. I mean, it's a nice idea. I want to try really hard to make sure it's visible. First aid kit. It kind of looks interesting, and I can still overlap this here. That might work. Okay, since this is delicate and in pieces, I am going to glue one strawberry at a time. Just glue it to the back here. But I don't want to glue them all, and that's because I have plans for the pelvis. The pelvis is going to get interwoven in here with the strawberries. Get that little strawberry out. And because I cut the strawberries in half, I can put, scatter strawberries throughout. Whether or not I actually end up doing that, I may even remove some strawberries. It just depends. It depends on how I feel and what I feel looks good. What I like about having these strawberries now is that there's more of a contrast beneath the pelvis. And look, when I have the pelvis down here, it kind of overlaps where the dress is. And I like that. I like that a lot. Get comfortable standing there for a minute, but I wanted a strawberry or two to kind of be overlapping. I don't know if I can do that, but we do have some strawberries here. Like, I can do something like this, maybe. That might work. But I do like having the strawberries on here. That'll work. And I like having the pelvis overlapping the dress. I like that a lot. Okay. And since I like it, I'm just going to go ahead and glue the hands, her hands, onto the pelvis. So it's on there. It's where I want it to be. But if I decide at the last minute I don't really like it, I can try and remove it. I run into some problems with that, though, because I'm working with vintage paper. There's always that issue when you're working with vintage paper, as most of you probably know. I think I'll stick this strawberry right here too. I would like the leaf maybe poking out of this hip socket. I think that's what it is. Okay. A little tricky here. Okay, now this is when it gets a little like, you know, you want to move things and they don't cooperate. Okay, that's better. I had this strawberry right here. I'm actually going to tug it off. It's hanging by a thread. Okay, oh, that came off. Oh, this was the one that I taped back on when I was working with it, so that's not too bad. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and glue some more of the hips down. Just enough. Glue this guy down too. We have a little space here. I think I need another strawberry perhaps right there. I think that'll look good. But I think I'm going to tuck it behind the pelvis. You know, I just put some glue right on top of it. Just going to tuck it in right there. Because it just makes it just gives it more of an accentuation and it looks stronger to me. I thought about doing something like this maybe. I don't want to be too overt with it. It's, you know, with the strawberries. It's not really necessary, so I'm just gonna be careful with them. You can overdo it sometimes with little bits of ephemera. Maybe have something here. Yeah, I think I'll do that because I think I can remove it easily enough. All right, a little bit more glue here. Okay, let's see if I can bring this to overlap a little bit. Yeah, I love to overlap, as you guys know. It's fun. It gives it another life. I feel when you can overlap ephemera, it just looks more like it belongs there. I don't know if this leaf works anymore right there. I may need to remove that, stretch that out. Just for fun, I'm going to lightly glue it because when I cut this out, I want to accommodate where these hips are. I'm not going to just cut out the straight stencil. I may just even cut out where the strawberries are. I'll think about it. I'm not there yet. So I have other things. I have other hands. That kind of looks weird and scary, doesn't it? Just a little, huh? Because it almost matches how the arm is. And I can do that. I can do that. Do I want to though? Oh, maybe move it up a little bit like that. And these are just like little scraps on the back. I could probably glue that one down. Okay, did it overlap? Yes. Okay, that makes my life a little easier. I like using Mod Podge, but as you guys know, I prefer tape. Because it's just cleaner and flatter, and you don't have to worry about buckling. It works pretty good. I think that was a little bit of that. Yeah, I'm going to do that right here. That was the other little hand. I can go ahead and cut away this extraneous background. Maybe keep it. Maybe. Possibly. That's some really cool looking damage. Yeah, that's looking interesting. So I have more hands. I don't think I'm going to use these hands that are tearing the bandage open, but I do have these hands, and I had another one. where did it go? Okay, well, I'll find it in a minute. I have these other bandaged hands that are way bigger, and I can slip them in here to kind of counterbalance these smaller hands up here. Let's see if that works. I think that's where I have some tape. Yeah, there's some tape there. So again, if you run into this problem, this is another reason why I like the tape. You can, with the edge of your X-Acto, just kind of cut along the line very carefully and set it free. And it allows you to do other things. So that's why I like using the tape. It's just a lot cleaner that way. Okay. I was thinking about something like this. May need to overlap this hand. There's a nice strawberry right there. Okay, that looks a little on the creepy side. We'll go with it for now. And then there's this hand. And there's another strawberry there. You can go with that too. This might work. Possibly. I don't know, maybe it's a little too much with the hands. I'm not sure. Some more strawberries. I'm thinking maybe just the strawberries. I like the hands here. They really look creepy though. But I just, you don't have to go overboard with stuff. I always feel like I do, and you don't have to. I'm just here to tell you, you absolutely don't have to. The strawberries might be enough. The strawberries are red. That gives indication of the body, the inside of the body. That's what I was going for. And we're kind of limited in, the space. Let's move this. No, the strawberry to me also seems like a heart. I'm going to let this overlap because that will look cool. I could keep the hands there for a minute. I'm going to leave the hands there because I'm just not sure. And the other strawberries I am going to glue down. Do I want to use the open here? I kept wanting to put that right here. I liked it because the blue is a nice contrast. Yeah, let's do it. I am going to get back to Timelapse and maybe finish this up or find a stopping point and return later. I think we are nearing done, and I'm just kind of playing with some ideas in general. I'm probably going to scan this in a Photoshop because it's just going to be easier. It'll look something like this probably in the end image, but although it's going to be scanned in Photoshop, you all know that this was mostly analog. Do I add more strawberries to our model, to our focal point? Is it too much? And, it might be. And I can certainly cut some of these strawberries free. Originally, I was sharing before, it was going to be about hands. Now it's about strawberries. Maybe something like this. I liked the open here. I don't know. I don't want to cover up too much of the pelvis. Do I add more strawberries? It might start getting a little strawberry heavy. Maybe there. Maybe one smaller one right there. Just a little extra cutting. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that'll be good. And that's gonna probably be it for this one. It's a weird one, but that's what we're going for. And as for a background, probably just gonna do something basic and plain, because there's a lot going on here. I mean, it's a minimal palette, which I love, but I don't need to do too much for it. Not too much. Okay, it's weird, it's wonderful, and I am pleased. We're done. Yeah. First aid. First aid. I kept the hands. They actually, I don't know if they belong. I could probably take them out and be okay. But I kind of like the way they look too. They're a little weird. I think I'll leave them alone. We'll just leave them alone and make sure she has her ketchup brain. Yeah, there you go. Okie doke. I wonder if I should put this one here. You know what? Yeah, I think I will. Ooh, I better like it, because pulling this one up pulled up some of that image. Yeah, I like that. It was worth it. It was worth the risk. Okay, everyone. Let us commence. Thank you so much for joining me this week. I hope to see you next time, and I hope you are having fun in your own collage journeys, and I'll be waiting for you.